extension of the back. So like if he lifted both of his arms at the same time, which I don't want to do, he would arch his back. That cobra position. So we're not, that's actually contraindicated. There are several personal training companies that would show you that and then mark you wrong on an exam if you said that was a good exercise. Instead, we do contralateral raises. So I want to raise his right arm and his left leg. That's what a Superman is, because look, he's flying like Superman. He's going to keep his spine neutral. He's going to make himself as tall as he can. So he's really, that's a part that people forget. He's also making himself long. He's going to, if you look at the EMG activity, part of the EMG in the retrospinal goes up by having just lifting these limbs. But even more of the EMG activity occurs when he tries to make himself longer, stretches out. Good. Go ahead and switch. So make yourself nice and tall. Draw the abdomen in, recruit the TVA again. And switch. Now again, what would be wrong with right arm, right leg? Okay, good. Lower. I want you just very, very, very slightly raise your right arm and your left leg off the ground. Just a tiny little bit. Right leg and right arm. So that causes a lot of impingement and stress back in here. So if he was to really exaggerate that, he could actually hurt his back. So we always do contralateral. Right arm, left leg. Okay, so that's a beginner Superman. Very, very good exercise because retrospinal is always tight. It's usually going to be tight and weak in a lot of people who are beginners. It's a good exercise for improving posture. Now what we can do is we can progress to a little bit more advanced. What we'll do is do a 4-point stance. So go ahead with your hands on the floor and you bend it, sitting on your knees like this. Okay, 4 points. It's a 4-point stance. Drawing the abdomen in, keeping his trunk tight once again. He's going to raise his right arm and left leg together. Making himself long and strong in here. Okay, tighten that up, and then switch. Great warm-up exercise. Warming up muscles are going to be the key to upper and lower body exercises later. So we're warming up these very important muscles of his trunk. Okay, good. Switch.
Would you not do that in like a real push-up position?
That's what's next. So the next advance is to go, good, to a push-up position. So the knees off the ground. He's going to hold a nice plank. Now if he arches his back here, then he's not recruiting his trunk musculature enough. So he draws his abs in tight. You're going to see this flatten out and be more neutral, like we see there. And I want you to raise your right arm and left leg from the push-up position. And hold that nice and strong. And then switch. Now if they lack some stability, he's doing great. But if they lack stability, you could even put a ball under them when they do this. And because their knees are off the ground, it actually is harder than the other progression where the knees were on the ground. And then switch. Okay, and then as we get really advanced, well, let me show you with the ball first. This would still be novice. You can put your pelvis into the ball, and your knees can be on the ground. So shift your center of gravity back just a little bit, and you can put your legs back further. Your knees can be hovering off the ground. You think you're stable enough to be like that. Okay, cross your arms, across your chest like this. So you'll lean into the ball, and then go and just extend up so that your back is straight. So you bring your chest off. So he comes in neutral. It doesn't arch. And then back into the ball. Then neutral. This will still be considered, intermediate. More advanced would be to take his arms here and put his arms out and increase the resistance arm even longer. Then come down all the way into the ball. That's going to stretch the spine. That's the eccentric part, and then come back up to neutral. Now that's advanced because we've made the resistance arm longer. So now that's advanced. Great job. All right. So now, more advanced, we'll do a push-up Superman, and we'll do the Romanian deadlift. Push-up Superman is the same thing Ryan just did, but we go from a push-up into Superman. So it's a dynamic movement, which again for a warm-up, 25 reps of that for someone who's an elite athlete like myself would work as a good warm-up. As you see, I'm not an elite athlete.
Are you supposed to go all the way down?
That's the most push-ups that I can do. No.
No. Okay. Just checking.
Romanian deadlift.
You could,
so
the Superman part.
Romanian deadlift, we want to teach people to bend at the hips, not the back. And remember, whenever you do a Romanian deadlift, the reason this is advanced is if you don't recruit the core musculature to, if you don't recruit your glutes and your back to keep yourself in a nice arch position, like an anterior tilt, then what's going to happen is that spinal flexion will be put all on the connective tissue of the spine. So the discs and the connective tissue running throughout the trunk are going to be stressed by the rounding of the spine. So we have to engage all the musculature around here to keep that arch exaggerated, and that way we keep the resistance off the spine and the connective tissue. So The other thing is we want to bend at the hip, not the trunk. A lot of people will bend at the waist. So you don't want to bend at the waist, you want to bend at the hip. There's a difference. If someone's having trouble bending at the hip, when they're down in this position, have them march and have them feel their hips. Where they feel that marching movement, that's where they need to bend. So you can use that as a tool to help them understand where to bend. So like in other words, if I'm bending from my waist and coming up like this, have me move my legs and I can feel, all right, the movement's coming from the hip. That's where I need to extend, all right? And we can use a ball for someone novice. The ball real close to the body. And it's face the windows, that way they can see from the side view. And you're just going to really exaggerate your butt out on the way down, arms straight, ball real close. See, that's bending at the waist. So we want you to stick your chest out, arms straight, and I want you to bend from here. Bend, march in place. Feel that movement in the hip, that's where I want you to bend. So stick your butt out, and shoulders back, butt out. Good, and now come down towards the floor. Still bending at the waist, stick your chest out. Okay, arms straight and locked. What's that?
Probably should leave them not very,
Okay, no, that's good. No, that's good. And then come straight up. And I want all the movement to come. Go ahead and move your legs again, like march in place. All the movement should come from your hips. So really stick your butt out. You just go down as far as you can your butt out. That's good. That's perfect. Okay, right there, and then straight back up again. Good. To make it a little more advanced now, we would just go ahead and add the reach component. So go ahead and come down. And then you're going to reach out with the ball and come straight up to a standing position. There we go. And then pull the ball back in close. That's called a Romanian deadlift using a ball. Good. And I'll show with a band, with a bar. Now we can do heavy weights for a beginner for Romanian deadlift. And the grip for the Romanian deadlift is not like a traditional deadlift, like that reverse grip we talked about. It's a regular hook grip. But does anyone know what wrist straps are? They're there to help you with the grip and help so you don't lose the ball. Your thumb can be your own built-in wrist strap when you do a Romanian deadlift. What you do is you wrap, your hands are going to be slightly wider than your shoulders.